Kia ora whānau, welcome to the Headmasters Assembly for Friday 27 August. Wonderful that you can be joining us at this time to receive this pre-recorded message, but one that certainly is packed with information. So please stick with me over the next few minutes as I share some really important announcements with you. The first is last night I sent an email to your parents, and I know that students have received a copy of that as well, that outlined some really key developments that we've heard about through external organisations such as NZQA. The first of those really important updates is that the examination season for our senior students, that's those students studying NCEA level 1, 2, 3 and also New Zealand scholarship examinations, has been pushed out by a further 2 weeks, and as such will now start on Monday 22nd November and grow right the way through until Tuesday 14 December. If you are a student who is enrolled for any of those NCEA subjects or assessment standards and or New Zealand scholarship, you'll be able to see a copy of the revised examination timetable available via the email that was sent last night. This is an incredibly favourable result for you as senior students, on the grounds that it does allow extra opportunities for you to work and work in a really rigorous manner for upcoming examinations, knowing that you'll be afforded a little bit of extra time. We hope the vast majority of that extra time will allow you to access face-to-face information, knowledge and experience that our staff have been and continue to be so incredibly willing to provide. Can I note that it's particularly important, especially for our art students, that you're communicating directly with classroom teachers around what impact having an extra 2 weeks may or may not have in terms of your courses. The last thing we want is any students just putting an extra 2 weeks in their diary when actually some of the deadlines that you have, particularly in portfolio-based subjects, will continue as per usual. So please make sure with maturity that you seize the initiative and have the conversation with your classroom teacher to understand what that change may look like for you. Secondly, I explained in my communication to your parents and also to you as students last night that for our senior students, you may or may not have heard about conversations that are occurring, with the idea being that NZQA may at some stage decide to reinstigate, as they did last year, learning recognition credits, and there may or may not be a change in endorsement thresholds or what the thresholds are for university entrance. The comment that I want to make at this stage, just to be absolutely clear, is that there is no room for complacency. It is critical that all of you as senior students in year 11, 12 and 13 are working in a real rigorous manner, making sure that you are focused on making the best of each particular minute and each particular class that is available to you via our distance learning approach, and that when you return you do certainly come with the intention of putting your best foot forward in terms of your benchmark examinations. Those particular exams are going to be absolutely crucial in providing us with baseline data. So in a really unfortunate scenario, and we certainly hope that this is not the case, that worse occurs throughout the remainder of the year, and if by chance we did end up in lockdown, then at least we would be able to draw back upon those benchmark examination results in order to provide you with derived grades. So particularly important that we're working at this moment in time in preparation, understanding that those benchmarks will be critical in terms of us allowing to see the information you know right now and being able to use that to reflect on an end of year grade if things got taken out of our control later on in the year. Also a note, and I feel like this is very senior heavy at the moment, but a note to our leavers for the end of this year, that tertiary providers and in particular universities have slightly different processes in place for enrolment and scholarships at this point in time, simply due to us being at alert level 4. So it is particularly important that if you are looking at options out there at the moment, that you're communicating directly with those particular tertiary providers and or Mr. Wilson, Mr. Paul Wilson here on site, that you're dropping him an email so that you can get the most up-to-date information and can prepare the documentation accordingly for what those particular organisations require. At this stage, if we can slightly change tack and explain what this afternoon may or may not bring. I certainly don't want to go through all the details of what our planning involves, as many of those efforts may not actually come to being needed. What I do want to stress to you is that if we find ourselves at alert level 4 after this evening, then as we make our way through the coming days and or weeks at level 4, our distance learning platform will continue to provide the approach that to date I have been incredibly proud of, in particular your work as students, being in class at the right time and giving of your very, very best. If we do find that in the coming days there'll be a change for our region into alert level 3, our distance learning platform will continue. However, there will be restricted and limited access to young students who are sons and daughters of essential workers, and I would describe that process in communications to your parents this afternoon if that was to be the case. Really what we are all looking for at the moment is a return to alert level 2 when that may come, and certainly we are, whilst holding hope, very realistic about the difficult job that the Ministry of Health have at this time, but when alert level 2 does come into being, at whatever stage that may be, then we look forward to welcoming you back on campus, albeit with additional measures in place that certainly many of you who were part of our community in 2020 are very, very, very well versed in. In the meantime, though, there are so many questions and not a lot of answers, and as such I just really want to acknowledge this afternoon via this particular video how incredibly proud we've been of you as young people, the ways in which you have shown us adaptability, you've shown a particularly positive mindset, and you have demonstrated patience in spades. As we move forward, we're going to need that continued positivity, certainly your patience and your adaptability as we end up just responding at appropriate times to decisions that have been made by others. In the meantime, as you move into the weekend, I do sincerely hope that some of the changes we made to our distance learning process this week, namely the 8:30 starts and having a day off on Wednesday, was met really favourably by all of you, and that as we look towards the weekend, you find some real genuine opportunities to rest, to breathe, to take in oxygen outside. I think that's really important that we get out and about if the weather permits, and we enjoy a little bit of nature and certainly some physical activity. As we prep for next week, please know that we are walking right alongside you, and if there's any ways in which we can provide additional support, be that via your classroom teachers, your house masters, and certainly any members of the senior leadership team, then please by all means feel free to reach on out via email, and then we can respond accordingly. I finished this particular video this afternoon by sincerely thanking our pastoral team, in particular to our guidance counsellors Blair and Leah. They've been putting together an incredible amount of resources. We look forward to sharing some of those via the landing page and also via email late today with you, and do really sincerely hope that you spend some time over the weekend looking at those particular resources, understanding what strategies such as drop the anchor actually mean in terms of looking after your own well-being. Certainly at this time and the uncertainty of this time, one of the very best things that you can be doing is making sure that you put aside time to look after yourselves. So please take care out there. Know that we are certainly thinking of you, and certainly understand both the benefits at the moment that some of you will be enjoying in terms of home comforts, but also the difficulties and the challenges of this particular time. So please stay safe. Please continue to follow the really clear expectations that the government and the Ministry of Health have of us all, so that together we can beat this thing and look forward to being reunited back on campus, hopefully before long. Take care.